Welcome to episode 121 of How About the Huskies. As always, I'm your host, Connor, joined by both Matt and Andrew today. And this is one of the more exciting games, I feel like, every year on the schedule for UConn, but especially this season, seeing where St. John's is ranked number 10 in the AP poll currently. They were in that bracket reveal as a top 16 seed in the country, according to the bracketologists, for what would be the tournament. This is not your typical St. John's team. The Huskies going down to the Garden, where we've struggled against St. John's. We've beaten them more often than not, but they're always good games. We don't usually blow them out when we go down there, but this will be a preview of UConn St. John's. Andrew, I know you weren't able to join us for that last episode we did talked about the Nova game, so maybe you have any thoughts about that you want to share, or you just can get right into the St. John's. It's up to you, whatever you want.
Yeah, and I just want to address what you guys already did. I wasn't ducking that episode. This just got to be, people get busy. We get busy. We're not just, life and death of UConn basketball. We get busy. So in case there were any rumors of us, especially me, dodging the loss, that wasn't the case. We just got busy, and I'm sad I couldn't be there. But the loss to Hall, I don't even want to talk about. Stuff happens. We didn't play well enough to win. Stuff like that happens. It's okay. We'll go beat Villanova. Great run to end the game. That shows, I feel like, more signs of good than any other game really that we've played in the last month, except maybe Creighton. Just to be able to come back because I heard the Boo Birds again. They were out for that game, and that's just never going to go away, no matter what happens. But getting into this St. John's game, you told me on November 6th when we played our first game that on February 20th, the St. John's Red Storm would be the number 10 team in the country. I think I would have laughed at you and turned and walked away because nobody expected that. But the Godfather has really made this team something that nobody thought they would be. I no doubt that people thought they would be good. But number 10 in the country is extremely good. And Rick Pitino, you can have your thoughts about him in terms of morals and stuff. But in terms of basketball, I mean, he's just done a fantastic job of leading this team to success. And it's pretty cool to see a Big East team being that good again. It kind of brings us back to the old Big East when it was the best conference in college basketball. But in terms of this game, I know there's a lot of rumors going around about RJ Lewis. I'm not going to believe it until I see that he's not on the court or in street clothes because this may be Patino trying to mess with UConn fans' heads. Who knows? But in terms of this game, I mean, we're going to have to bring our A plus 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 game because we brought our A game in the beginning of the game at Gamble and they came back and beat us. So we're going to have to bring our best game that we possibly can on Sunday.
Yeah, there's been a trend this year where we lose at home against the best teams in the Big East and we win on the road. We haven't played Marquette at home yet, so I guess there's still time to see if that fully plays out. But we lost to Creighton at Gamble, lost to St. John's at Gamble, went on the road and beat Marquette, went on the road and beat Creighton. So I feel like just kind of following along there. We should beat St. John's on the road, but this is going to be a tough game. I agree. RJ Lewis, Patino, you can't believe anything he says. He said Davon Smith was going to be out indefinitely the day before their game. I think it was the Creighton game last weekend. He said Davon Smith out indefinitely. He played that game and played very well. So you can't take anything. You take everything he says with a grain of salt. Will RJ Lewis, the Big East, at least near the top of the leading scorers in the Big East, think he's gonna miss this game? I don't think so, but I mean maybe he will. Maybe that's an advantage for the Huskies. But what's your guys? What am I trying to say here? Where's your guys' confidence level going into this one? Because I feel like with this team, it's a very roller coaster type of a season. I mean, we have the big win against Creighton, lose to Seton Hall, come back versus Nova. Are we due for another maybe downhill against St. John's? Who knows? I want to see where you guys are at.
I feel like it's hard to not feel better about this game than, the previous Nova game. I mean, coming off that Hall loss, things were pretty desolate. But I mean, now, you're going to the Garden. You have a wide and large history of success at the Garden. Maybe the subtraction of RJ Lewis from that lineup will really help us. We don't know, but one thing I'm sure will help us is the resurgence of Liam McNeely coming back from that injury. He's been this team's best player, and in that first game against St. John's, he came off the bench, and he took his shots. He had 15 shots, but they just weren't falling. I'm really curious to see, a healthier Liam McNeely here come in and maybe we run that big lineup again. I would love to see more Terrace. I'd love to see a lot of adjustments from the previous game because that was a game that we easily could have won, and I feel like this game is even more winnable.
Damn, Matt, you just stole exactly what I was going to say. But I am looking forward to seeing a healthier Liam in this too, especially because he just took a lot of good shots and none of them really went in until the shot clock buzzer beater, which was, of course, that would be the one to go in. None of the wide open looks will go in, but of course that one does. But I'm looking forward to kind of seeing a different lineup. I think we should roll with the solo and then the big the rest of the way. Stewart, Liam, Caravan, um, and Samson with Reed off the bench. And I think Reed's going to be coming off a really obviously he is coming off a good game, but I feel like he's going to have a lot of confidence because he just went up against Eric Dixon and put up those numbers that he did. So St. John's Zuby Ejiofor is very good, but in terms of post defense between him and Eric Dixon, I feel like there's a pretty big gap there. So I think that he's going to end up really being the edge for center in this one. Obviously, Samson will stay out there, but what I'm really interested to see is Caravan because I want to see what his role is in this game because of the perimeter defense that St. John's plays. Are we going to maybe have him post up on somebody? I'm really curious to see what Danny does with the matchups here. That's my one big thing that I'm interested in for this game.
With Caravan, I feel like he usually is the type of guy that steps up in the big moment, in the big, I guess, big arena, we'll call it Madison Square Garden. I feel like it's a stage he shines on. He struggled against Gonzaga. I don't think he made a three when we played them at the Garden not it was technically last year, but like December, you know what I'm trying to get at. He struggled there, but I feel like this is almost like a perfect game for him to break out of his slump. And I'm not just saying next, it's our next game. I just feel like we're gonna need him to make shots against this team. I have the box score up from last time we played them. Caravan only scored 3 points, and we lost by 6 against a very good team. If he gets even close to his average, that's a completely different story. He's the guy that has to step it up again. Samson Johnson only had 4 points in that one. Hassan Diarra three. You're really carried by Liam, Terrace, and Solo, which I feel like they carried us in the last game against Villanova as well. But I just feel like you just need if Caravan becomes even somewhat what he used to be. I'm not asking him to knock down 5 threes. If he can go like two for even 2 for 5, I mean that's 40%. You'll definitely take that. It's just I'm surprised his slump has lasted this long, and I feel like it has to be coming to an end at some point, right? I mean, he was a great shooter for us for 2.5 years, we'll call it, because the start of this year he was on fire. It's surprising it's gone this long, and we're going a little off topic from the St. John's preview aspect of this, but I just feel like maybe it's a prediction. I'll make a hot take. I think Kerrigan breaks out of his slump. I think he scores 20 points in this game.
I mean, I'm really hoping. So, I was looking back, to some earlier highlights from the season, and I mean, he was drilling shots from, I mean, almost anywhere on the court, and it really is a big question. Where did that guy go? I don't know where he went. I don't know what is going on. Maybe he's battling through some injury that we don't exactly know about, or honestly, maybe he just has the yips. It's really weird, and I don't feel like it's really being talked about that much anymore, but. He's our best player. Coming into the season, that was the expectation, and he even started that way. He was our best player. I'm not sure what happened or what's going on, but I mean, you need him in a big way here in this one.
In this one, segueing over, what do you guys think is the biggest key to making sure the Huskies win this game? I will go first. I usually don't, but I want to get this point across before either of you steal it. You got to limit St. John's in the mid-range because that's where they want to get the ball, and that's where they got the ball very often against us. They got how many threes did they take? They took 21 threes, hit four of them. That's not their game. That's never been like good Rick Pitino teams, their game. His two Louisville teams he took to the Final Four. They didn't shoot the ball well from three at all. So this team in St. John's is no different. So that's not their game. Sure, they hit four, they shot 19%. I mean, we'll live with that. You can't live with RJ Lewis, Kadari Richmond. Those are the big two getting to their spots. RJ Lewis got to his spot late in the game last time, hit a dagger with 13 seconds left. If you got to stop there, you had a chance to tie or take the lead. But it's just, I feel like it's easier said than done to not have these guys get to their spots where they easily convert. But I feel like having what was our game was Tuesday. We have all day Wednesday, all day today, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We have 4 full days off between games. That's enough time, I feel like, to implement a proper game plan to try to limit that. You're not going to stop it. You're not going to hold RJ Lewis and Kadari to like single digits each. That's just not who St. John's is, not who they are. But I feel like not giving them easy buckets or easy buckets for them. I should say it's not an easy bucket to drill any shot, but not giving them what they want, I feel like has to be the number one key.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that before because if you had waited till the end, that's exactly what I was going to say. But I kind of want to add on to that a little bit and get a little more specific. I think the most important key here is the interior defense. And if I were Dan Hurley, obviously I'm not a D1 basketball coach, but if I were Dan Hurley, I would make everybody play defense inside the 3-point line and force them out there. I wouldn't let the ball get to the post no matter what because that's where their game is the strongest. Connor just mentioned those mid ranges. But in terms of, defense for the Huskies, I wouldn't allow St. John's to get inside. I would make them shoot the three ball. If they beat you on the three ball, then there's nothing you can do about that. People make threes, no matter how good necessarily teams are at shooting threes, numbers don't say everything. If they beat you by the three ball, that's you can live with that. But you don't want to give them easy mid range that anybody on the face of the planet really can make. So if I were Dan Hurley, I would just focus mainly on the perimeter defense, and it would actually be the opposite for offense. I would make them go inside because St. John's perimeter defense is so good.
If I was Danny Hurley, I would throw a curveball to Rick Pitino here, and I would work on just changing the game. I mean, you cannot play into the St. John's game. They have to play into your game. And I feel like if you make it difficult for them to do that from the beginning, then they're not going to be able to get on a roll like they did at the end of last game. I mean, we saw a bunch of different lineups when Haas was out, when the big guys were in foul trouble that I really liked, and I mentioned it a couple games ago. I can't remember exactly which one it was. I think it was Creighton where um, we had no Haas and Sampson and Terrace were both in foul trouble, and we ran with AK at the 5 and then a lineup of mainly forwards and bigger guards, and I loved that because especially for this game, if you're going out there, their biggest player is Zuby Ejiofor. He's 6'7". You're not really worried about the paint. You don't need to worry about controlling the paint. You need to guard that mid-range, like Connor was saying, and stop Kadari and all their other great mid-range shooters from getting their looks. And I think the best way to do that is just put a bunch of athletic bodies on the court that are going to be able to chase guys around all game. I think the offense will come naturally. I think you have enough naturally gifted scorers to where you won't have to worry about we're gonna miss out on the offensive end. I mean, you got Solo, you got healthy Liam. I mean, AK is still a factor, and I mean, if you have Sampson playing above the rim and Terrace dominating down low, I mean, I see some great success coming for us in this game. You just got to make Patino think a little bit more, I think, than he did last game, and I think if you do that, then you will have success here against St. John's.
I was going to say the same exact thing. I think you should just make Patino make adjustments. That's how you win this game. Don't let him figure out what we're doing and have him make adjustments to what we're doing. Make him make adjustments to what we're doing on defense. Make them think, what in the world are they doing? A guy touches the ball 3 times on the same possession, make 3 different guys guard him. Switch down low on the post as much as you can. I feel like our defense can't be what it's been all year because we're going to get killed. I think it should just be kind of a wild card. And like Matt just said, a lot of athletic guys on the floor running around. And that's why I feel like we might see the double big in a little bit this game of Terrace and Sampson, because I feel like that'll also throw a curveball at the St. John's offense. Honestly, this might be, I don't know if I'm going to get laughed at in the comments for this, but I would like a lineup that's Liam, Stewart, Caravan, Terrace, and Sampson at some point, so that St. John's just like, what in the world is going on? I think you just got to get weird this game to beat them. I think that's what it is. You got to get weird.
I don't know if we'll see that, but that'd definitely be a pretty big lineup. But I agree. I feel like why not mix it up? I mean, it's clear that Dan Hurley and the staff right now, I don't think it's wrong to say that they only really trust like 7 dudes. I mean, Mahaney plays, Ross plays, but like they didn't play in the second half at all They don't trust Noel. He didn't play in the first half at all in that Nova game. They really only trust seven dudes. So like, why not play Terrace and Sampson together? I mean, you probably don't practice it too much, too often. So that's you may they may not be that great at it, but like. We only really saw it, I think, in that Baylor game, in an extended period, I should say, in that Baylor game. We saw it sprinkled in a couple times here and there, but it's definitely an interesting thought because it would throw their game plan off. But I'm just worried about this is me thinking out loud. I'm worried about that pressure because we're out of that funk where we turned it over 47 times in two games. But I think we're past that level. I think that was the worst of it. But we're still a team that is a little banged up or slash not deep in the backcourt slash ball handler position. So St. John's, they're going to pressure you pretty much the whole game. They're a little deeper now in their game against DePaul where Lewis didn't play, so I guess other guys had to play more. They had eight guys play, and all of them played at least 12 minutes. They had Sadiku Ibeanayo, which is one of the best names in the Big East, 31 minutes against DePaul, and he scored 15 points. This is a guy who doesn't see the floor 9 out of 10 nights. So clearly, they're a little deeper now than they were. Well, that was only like 3 weeks ago, but. I don't know. I'm just worried about the pressure because I'm not sure where we are at in going against it because DR is still, I mean, his injury didn't go anywhere. He's still hurt. McNeely, he's back full time now, but he was full time in that game last time he played 28 minutes. Mahaney, I don't trust against pressure. I don't trust him bringing the ball up if he's not being guarded. He'll dribble off his foot. Jaden Ross is not a guy that we really think we thought he'd be better at ball handling, but he's not. It's just there's concern there, but I don't know. It's obviously maybe overthinking it a little bit because I trust Dan Hurley and I'm going to trust whoever he throws out there, even if they're struggling. But last segment here before we wrap up, of course, you guys could guess players to watch. You guys get any players to watch for this one?
I'm gonna double down. Actually, I don't know. I was gonna go Terrace, but I think Liam's gonna be the star of the game again. He has been the star of almost every game recently. He's kind of blossomed here into one of the better players, not just on our team, but in the sport of college basketball. I mean, he's a real problem for defenses, and I think like I mentioned before, last game against St. John's, very inefficient, 4-15, 2 and 9 from three. If you can get just a few of those to fall, I mean, it could be a long night for St. John's. He can go off like he did against Creighton. I think there is the threat of that every single night with Liam McNeely. So I'm going to go with Liam to kind of lead our scoring charge and to lead us to victory here.
I'm going to go with Caravan, but not for the reasons that some of you might think. I don't necessarily need him to score 20 points and shoot 165 threes and see five of them go in. I don't think that's really going to be important this game. I want to see Caravan drive because he's a great athlete. We've all seen it. He's had some insane drives where he takes people to the hoop. But St. John's isn't going to be expecting that because of what's happened with him lately. So I feel like he's got to kind of gets if RJ Lewis is guarding him or whoever's guarding him, get that person to guard him so that he can kick it out for open threes or make the layup, make the floater, just change up his game a little bit. I feel like the wide open three clearly isn't going to work. And if it's just going to be an empty possession, you can put analytics into it. If it's going to be an empty possession 85-90% of the time, you don't really want that. So I feel like I want to take Caravan to be a playmaker and just do some different things besides shooting the three in this game. I feel like if he's kind of not necessarily a facilitator because not really handling the ball, but if he just does some things differently, drives through the hoop, kicks it out for open threes, I feel like we'll be fine.
And I'm going to go Terrace Reed because in Big East play, when Terrace Reed has scored in double figures, I just did quick math. Just in Big East play, not counting non-conference. The game after he scores in double figures, he's averaging 4.4 points per game. He's not, I feel like he and Jalen Stewart are the poster children, I guess is the proper grammatical way to say that. They're poster children for this. We need consistency from the bench guys. Obviously, there's Mahaney and Ross too, but I feel like they're almost beyond that point. At this point, you expect them to almost not contribute, which sucks to say, but yeah, I feel like you need Terrace Reed to have another. I'm not saying he doesn't have to get double figures, but be a force inside. Don't just be in there just to be a big body. Use your strength that you've used all season and especially used in that Villanova game. like you said, it's Dixon is good. Ejiofor is also good, but I feel like Dixon's the more intimidating matchup. So I feel like there should be some positivity there mentally going in. So I feel like Terrace just has to show that it wasn't a fluke last game, which we know it's not because he's done it all year. But try to string together some back to back to back, even to back games of solid performances. I feel like if he's peaking at the right time, which it's got to be damn close to the right time, it's February 20th. I feel like this team's ceiling grows a lot higher. All right, you guys got anything else for this game? I don't either. Next time you hear from us, it will be shortly after this game because as of now, we are planning to do our third, I think it's third live stream of the year. So, Andrew, you got any want to say something?
Yeah, I lied. I do have one more thing. And we need this game more than anything. So if you're going, please drown out the St. John's crowd, whatever it's going to be. This is Storrs South. Everybody knows this is our house. The St. John's fans try to claim it, but where have they been since 1985? Nowhere. So this is our house. If you're going, please be loud, get the chant going, and just be behind our guys no matter what. I don't want to hear any boos. I want to hear this guy sucks, get this guy to the portal. I don't want to hear any of that. Only positive things and always be behind our guys and just let's go get that win.
Yeah, Storrs South. I mean, I went to this game the past couple of years. I unfortunately can't make it this year, but Storrs South always shows out. It's going to be really interesting to see what it looks like, though, with St. John's being so good. I feel like there's going to almost probably be more St. John's fans. I mean, you expect there to be, but it hasn't been the case the past couple of years. But yeah, back to my point about the live stream. We're planning on going live for the third time this season. The live stream that usually means we lose, but we actually beat Creighton last time, so maybe that's out of the water. Maybe we've kind of run a winning streak with the live. So look for that. We'll share it as we get closer. Hopefully that'll be right after a Big East Classic between number 10 St. John's and UConn. Until then, thank you guys for tuning into this preview. See you guys in the live stream.